And what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It is your boy Cheap Ludes. It is time to resurrect the tier list series here. So we're gonna start with the point guards as we always do. In addition to that, probably gonna do shooting guard today, and then I'll probably do small forward, power forward, and center over the next couple days as well. So let's get the parameters out of the way. Ranking the best point guards in NBA 2K22, my team, based on a variety of factors. I usually do this where I take a notebook and then I have like a whole bunch of notes and stuff like that. I try to rank them based on their overall completeness, how good the cards are on both next gen and current gen. And when I say overall completeness, I mean how good are they defensively? How good are they at various play styles? Um, are they good for three hunting? Are they good for rim running? Are they good for both? What kind of badges can you add? I don't rank the cards based on if they're badged up, but if they can get certain badges is a priority. So S tier, unquestionable best cards in the game. It gets tough to rank cards around this point in the year because there's a lot of outdated cards. Cards are coming out that still have weaknesses and stuff. So A tier, just a shade under S tier, and I'll explain why a card is here as opposed to S tier. B tier, this is what majority of the community is going to use, and I will explain why every card is here as well. These are, pick of the litter, very solid cards. C tier, pretty good at a couple things. Maybe they're outdated. Maybe they just have some very blatant weaknesses. Either way, I will explain why they're here. D tier, you can do better. They're specialist cards. Maybe they do one or two things really, really well, and that's about it. F tier, they're not quite trash, but they're really close. And then trash tier. Now, I do have the Omnicron per CI8, so I will be pumping out a lot of content over the next couple days because I am locked in my house, which honestly isn't that bad. I don't mind being locked in my house. So let's get started. D Brown. Fully Evo D Brown is D tier. The card's just outdated. It's really nothing wrong with D Brown. He's okay. Like, this card can offensively hold it down, but that's really about it. Alex Caruso, Bulls legend himself. I'll throw him in B tier. I'm still offended that the card is not a Bulls Caruso, it's a Lakers Caruso. Everyone knows that Bulls Caruso is significantly tighter. We got him after his run-in with the law in Texas, which is tight. A man literally got pulled over for smoking mids in Texas. That is a B tier guy if I've ever heard of one. That being said, pretty good. A little bit on the pricey side, but plays good defense, can attack the rim, can shoot pretty well. There's not really much the card can't do. It just doesn't do anything specifically of an A tier quality. You know what I mean? I'm going to start off the list by being divisive off the rip, and I don't even care. Like, sometimes I like to get a little divisive, and this is one of those times where I feel like I'm going to be divisive, and that's Allen Iverson, and I'm going to put him in A tier. I'm aware he's small. I don't care. This card is so good. Yes, you're going to get paint mashed by a guy with magic, for sure, which is why he's not S tier. That's his one blatant weakness. But offensively, this card is fantastic and can attack the rim at an incredibly high level. You would be surprised how many times Allen Iverson will straight boom on centers. It's shocking, to be honest. One of the best jump shots in the game, the best steal animations in the game. You can maybe argue that Michael Jordan or Kawhi has better steal animations, but for my money, the best steal animations in the game are Allen Iverson and Sidney Moncrief. They have the same steal animations. I don't know, dude. They get more steals than anyone. I'm going to put him in A. Is he going to be the best card in A tier? No, it'll probably be the worst, but I love this card. I don't care. Andre Miller. F. I would use D Brown over him for sure. I mean, if the limited requirements deem it so, as they have like one time, I would use Andre Miller, but it is what it is. Maybe it's the fever brain talking. Kyrie Irving. C. Kyrie's okay this year. C makes sense for him. Bob Cousy. My man really hooped at this level while smoking an entire pack of Kent cigarettes every single game. Honestly, hysterical. Bob Cousy's like a Chris Paul clone. I would put him in C tier. Once again, I'm about to get divisive. Brandon Jennings, C tier. I know people hate this card. People tell me every time I hype the card at all, they're like, oh, he actually sucks. It's subjective. Okay, the card is okay. He's a glass cannon. He doesn't play any defense. He's pretty solid offensively. I like Brandon Jennings, so I'm going to put him in C tier. I don't really care what anyone has to say. It's fine. Chris Paul. Bob Cousy, I would say better than Bob Cousy. Bob Cousy's bigger, so I would say Bob Cousy ahead of Chris Paul, but they're basically the same. Divisive time. John Wall S tier. I don't care. This card is so fantastic. Like, I don't care what anyone has to say. This is one of the best point guards in the game. Truly, I don't care if he's only 6'4". There's nothing this card can't do. Plays defense, attacks the rim at almost the highest level. Great jump shot, in my opinion. I think most people would agree. The great steal animations. There's just really not very many downsides to this card aside from its height. You know what I mean? That's really it. This Chris Paul, C. Same thing. Kobe White, D tier. We need an AO card, man. I don't know what that has to do with Kobe White. He's an okay glass cannon card. I'd put him here. With the dynamic duo, he's probably C tier, but base, he's probably D. Cole Anthony, C. With the duo, B tier, but C tier on his own. He's good though. Cole Anthony is nice. I hope we get a new Cole Anthony Moments card. He's been playing really well. That is if 2K ever gets off of vacation, which they probably won't. Damian Lillard, B. Yeah, he's worse than Iverson for sure. Still good. I mean, if you play a certain style, like Damian Lillard's going to be fire, but I would still put him in B tier. Dave Bing, low C, like the worst card in C tier. I mean, badge count wise, solid. It's just that set shot 4, man. That's the only thing that really holds Dave Bing back. If he didn't have set shot 4, this card in his pink diamond would be ranked higher for sure. Davion Mitchell, C tier for sure. I like Davion. Davion's good. De'Aaron Fox, B. De'Aaron Fox is still really good. I mean, since they nerfed side to side and quick first step, it definitely makes this card like worse of an option. But still good though. Murray's still B tier. I would put this Moments card right here too. They'll probably be towards the bottom of B tier, but I think still deserve to be there. Walt Frazier, still B. Low B, but still B. If we get a Galaxy Opal Walt Frazier, that card is going to be stupid. Dennis Schroeder, trash. There's no redeeming factors to this card. I don't care. I would use Andre Miller over him. This one actually not so bad though. The Diamond Moments one I would put in like C tier. You could argue ahead of Chris Paul, behind Chris Paul. It doesn't matter. I like Chris Paul because of his steal animations and his jump shot a little bit more. But you could argue Schroeder deserves to be there. Darren Williams, still good. Base 22. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the card. It's just outdated. That's it. Derrick Rose. I would still throw Derrick Rose at the very bottom of the barrel of B tier. This card can still hold it down. Throw him in C. I don't know. Certain people, like if you specifically use dribble moves that Derrick Rose has and only Derrick Rose has, he still moves. He still dunks really hard. He plays solid enough defense. I would put him in B tier. Big Russ. Yo, this card is actually good. Like, I'm not kidding. This card is good. I wish he had better than bronze clamps, and I feel like that was not cool that they did that because it's non-upgradable too. If you could give him gold clamps and he had slightly better defensive badges, I think this card could legitimately be like A tier. It could legitimately have a case for A tier. A fully evoed New Year's resolution Westbrook is so good. Very underrated. I haven't seen anyone talk about this card, but this card is very good and very cheap. This Derrick Rose, I would throw for sure in C tier somewhere. Not much of a difference between these two Derrick Roses, but put him in C. Devin Harris, C tier. About as mid-grade as you could possibly get. Devontae Graham. I still love this card. It's just outdated. Nothing wrong with it, though. Trey Burke-base is fantastic. Moves really well, just low badge count. Still better than Andre Miller, though. Eric Snow. Still one of the most overrated cards in this game, certainly, but C tier makes sense for Eric Snow. Eric Snow's good. I always give respect to 2K when they give like random guys cool cards, and they've done a good job of that this year. We've gotten like a lot of really random guys who have gotten like good cards, which I like. Like Omnicron. Devin Harris, like, is a good example of that. Like, we never get Devin Harris cards, so it's cool to see guys like that shine. Downtown Fred Brown, D, outdated. That's it. Fred VanVleet, once again, I would put in D tier. He's like the best card in D tier, but D tier makes sense. I would put him in C, actually. We need a new Fred VanVleet card. He's been playing out of his mind, dude. Like, so many guys have played so well and deserve moments cards, and 2K is just on vacation. Look, I'm all about worker solidarity, and I'm all about vacation time and sick leave and stuff like that. But It's tough when it comes to 2K because I hate 2K so much. You know what I mean? But I believe in them having vacation time. I don't care how long it is. I believe in it regardless. Gabe Vincent, D. He's not very good. I think this one might rub people the wrong way too, but I still think Gary Payton is S tier. Gary Payton is hands down the most annoying card in this entire game. With 2K's insistence on letting off-ball defense be the meta, Gary Payton is literally unstoppable. This man can guard centers, and get the pushback animations on centers. He's not going to guard like Shaq or anybody with like a Hall of Fame backdown punisher and a massive player build. But when you run into guys like, Bill Russell or even Kevin Garnett, Gary Payton can actually defend them in the post, which is absurd. Obviously, people are just going to paint mash you to death, but it's a possibility, is what I'm saying. Gilbert Arenas, I think this card's decent. I think people slept on it a little hard, but it's outdated. I would put it in C tier. Oh, I thought I purged all the base set guys. Whatever. Gus Williams, trash. Magic Johnson. I would put both of these Magics in A tier. The reason I would put him in A tier, and to be honest, I see Steph down here. I'm just going to get him out of the way too. Steph's in A tier as well. The reason I say that is just because of the badge additions. There's just better versions of these guys that exist, which is the only reason they're in A tier. If these were the best possible Magics and the best possible Currys, I would probably put them maybe in S tier, but A tier I think is appropriate for all three of these guys. Magic's great at what he does, but you can't really give him any shooting badges outside of set shooter and hot zone hunter that does absolutely nothing. And I think volume shooter is the other one. Steph, you just can't give him intimidator and other defensive badges that he would need. Still good though. Isaiah Thomas, still one of the most disrespected cards in this game, I think. I feel like Isaiah Thomas is going to be one of those cards we look back on and be like, man, that card was significantly better than what was available at the time, and I don't think anybody realized it. Kind of like how we all collectively look back on glitched Gobert and glitched Tim Duncan, at the end of 2K21, and we're like, wow, you know what? That card was so much better than the other things we had available, and I just feel like no one appreciated it. Isaiah Thomas is going to be that card because Isaiah Thomas is so much better than every point guard that was available at that time. It's actually crazy. You know what I mean? And the fact that he's still usable and still in B tier is nuts. Steve Nash. This Steve Nash, I would put probably towards the end of B tier. He's a glass cannon card, but he's better than these guys in C tier. This Isaiah Thomas is still good, but he just can't dunk like this one, and for that reason, I'd put him in C tier. Still solid, though. Also, I'll be honest, I hate this card because every time I do an NBA 75 pack opening, I pull this card at least twice, and I hate it so much. Jalen Brunson, D, whatever. Jalen Suggs. Basically the Bizarro, what was I going to say, Davion Mitchell. Beaver brain. He plays all offense, Davion's all defense. I prefer Suggs over Davion personally because he's a little bit bigger, and obviously he plays offense, which is more my thing, so I'm not particularly great at either of them, but I prefer offensive cards over defensive cards, at the point guard position anyway. Jamal Murray, I think he's still good enough to be C tier. This is a pretty good starter card. If you had this card at the beginning of the year, you kind of had a leg up on everybody, at least, aside from the people who had Darren Williams. James Silas, yeah. Yeah, they missed the mark. Usually if you get an early game James Silas, do you guys remember 2K21? James Silas was literally the best point guard in the game. I know people keep saying Gus Williams was in 2K21, but you're false. That's not correct. James Silas was the best point guard for at least the first 3 days. John Morant. I love John Morant. I still love this card. I don't use him in my main lineup anymore because I use Iverson and John Wall now, but John Morant's still fantastic. Jason Kidd. This Jason Kidd I would throw here. This one I would throw up higher, honestly, over by De'Aaron Fox. There's not too many differences in the cards out of the box. There's actually none. But this one can get a lot more badge additions, especially shooting badges that you would need. And for that reason, it's higher. But Jason Kidd's still one of the best defensive cards in this game. Jason the Jet Terry. Double Jason action here. Still great. The masked version would go probably right behind him. I just didn't put him on the list. Jason Terry's still good. I would say Isaiah Thomas needs to drop a bit there. That's better. Walt Frazier I'll drop too. Bam. Okay, that looks better to me. Jason White Chocolate Williams, F. That They always disrespect Jason White Chocolate Williams in the middle area of the game. John Stockton. Stockton's actually good. I really like Stockton. I'm a little higher on Stockton than most people, but like out of the box, Stockton's good. Plays great defense, has great steal animations, facilitates the ball, pretty good jump shot. There's nothing wrong with this card. Really, really good on next gen, like straight up. Big Russ. I mean, he's not trash, so I'll put him in F tier, but yeah. Not really a great defender. Can't shoot. Literally just rim runs. Jose Calderon. I like Calderon. I do. If we get like an upgraded Calderon card, it'll be pretty good. I would be shocked. You know what I mean? Slick Watts. Good defender, but D. Drew Holiday. I would put Drew Holiday in C tier still. Like, this card's still pretty good. One of the better defenders in the game, too. Drew Holiday has great defensive animations as well. Kevin Johnson, Mr. Mayor, an all-around terrible person. Runner-up for Karl Malone of the year, I would say. B tier, yeah. I mean, the card's good, though. Like, personal opinions beside. Like, I think I said beside instead of aside. Either way, it doesn't matter. Kevin Johnson was he's decent, but like when he came out, no one cared. But the card was good. Shockingly, Kyle Lowry want to get like Kyle Lowry's B tier. Kind of brings you a little bit of everything. Steve Nash is only down here because he plays no defense whatsoever. I would put him here actually. It's got gold limitless and a good jump shot and stuff. Yeah, I mean this is kind of how I would rank it. I prefer Isaiah Thomas and Walt Frazier, but that's a personal bias thing, so I don't know. Barbosa, the best card in F tier. I mean, you can make a case he belongs in D, but like, who cares? Lenny Wilkins. I know this is shocking, but Lenny Wilkins is actually like pretty good. Like, he does like pretty much everything, and his jump shot's not really that bad either. Like, this card is actually decent. It's weird. Signature Steph. Signature Steph is still probably B tier. I would put this Steph like right here. They're basically the same. I think De'Aaron Fox is a little bit better than this Steph personally. Jason Kidd, I don't think so. It depends what you value. I would use Russ, Dame, and Ja over Steph though, personally. So I mean, you could, if you like Steph Curry, you could put Steph up here. I'm not going to argue. This De'Aaron Fox, D, still fast, still plays okay defense. That's about it. Probably the best card in D tier. My boy Louis. I hope we get a new Louis soon. I do. I love Louis Dampier. I'll still put him right here. I don't care. Louis tight. Lucius Allen. S tier mustache. D tier player though. With badges, he's probably C tier, but D tier makes sense. AI. Yeah, next to Louis in C tier. Dave Bing. Dave Bing's good. Like I said, it's just that jump shot, man. Like, if it wasn't for the jump shot, Dave Bing would be B tier, no question. Like, the card itself is good. It's just that set shot 4 is so bad. This Steve Nash I would put over here by like John Stockton and Jason Kidd in the land of, I was going to say forgotten white guys, but the land of like NBA 75 white guys and Alex Caruso, apparently. I mean, yeah, with defensive badges, Steve Nash is pretty good. Like, he's not that different from like Curry, aside from like, you know, dribble moves and jump shot, but what he brings to your team is pretty similar. Evo'd Steve Kerr. Dude, Evo Steve Kerr is actually pretty good. Set shot 4 is pretty heinous, but the rest of his stuff is decent. Like, he booms on people, and set shot 4 is greenable. Like, it's easy to green. It's just a slow, gross jump shot. I wish they would have at least put it on quick, but they gave it to him on normal. Ugh. Damian Lillard, D. No, Dame's good enough offensively. I think low C tier makes sense for him. NBA 75 Magic, yeah, no question, S tier. I'm going to rank them as such. Gary Payton, I think, is still the best point guard in the game. That's my opinion on that. Magic with badges is probably right here. Without is like right here, but most people have shooting badges on them. And then John Wall's probably lowest. Yeah, I would say so. And maybe Steph's the best point guard in the game. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Mike Conley. I like Mike Conley a lot, actually. I'm going to put Mike Conley in B tier. Limited edition Russ. I think C tier makes sense. Just because he has all the issues that this Russ has, but he can't shoot. He has like a 79 3-pointer, which is fine. It's not the worst thing in the world, but I think this Russ is so much better. It's crazy. Mo Williams, F tier royalty. Muggsy, what are you doing? Get in trash tier. You're better than Gus Williams. Nate Archibald. I hate Nate Archibald. I'm gonna put him in D tier. I don't care what you have to say about it. It's fine. Nate McMillan, great defender, but that's it. Kind of like Lucius Allen, honestly, like pretty similar. Dunktober, Oscar Robertson. C, I would say. No defense whatsoever to speak of, but offensively, Oscar Robertson is good. Be on the lookout for that, what I assume is Galaxy Opal Oscar Robertson that we're going to be seeing relatively soon. That card is going to be the best point guard in the game. Mark my words. Write it down. Jot it down right now. Patty Mills, not too different than Dame. I'd put him in C tier. Dame and Patty Mills should go by Kyrie and Brandon Jennings and Calderon. Yeah, all of those guys should go right next to each other. Big Penny. A. I think he has enough weaknesses where I would say not S tier. In certain people's hands, S tier, but I would say A tier is appropriate. Starberry. Starberry is just worse. Derrick Rose. I'll put him in D. Pistol Pete. No defense to speak of whatsoever, and I think that there's cards that are good enough at this point in B tier. I would throw him low B tier still. Like, yeah, by Jason Terry. I can't say he's that much worse than Jason Terry. I think the reason people use Jason Terry over Maravich is simply because Jason Terry's like 12K. Rondo. Great defender, that's about it. I'd put him by like Dave Bing. I think Derrick Rose and Westbrook are the two best cards in this tier. Yeah. Reggie Jackson. I know people hate this card, but he is too good to be an F tier. It's a relatively complete sapphire. Ricky Rubio. C. Pretty terrible jump shot. That's about it. Other than that, pretty well rounded. Not terrible. Just a little outdated. That's about it, though. Rod Strickland. Rod Strickland's not that bad. I'd throw him like C tier over here. NBA 75 Steph Curry S. For sure. The fact that you can equip any badge to Steph Curry and make him a defensive monster, if you so choose, does make him belonging of S tier, I would say. I hate putting Steph Curry cards in S tier. I do. Usually they mess him up, though, so whatever. Ron Harper, he's just big, so F. This Russell Westbrook, yeah, I mean, same thing. Like, they're the same card, basically. Sleepy Floyd, I think, is still good enough to be C tier, but definitely falling off a little bit. I hope we get a new Sleepy Floyd soon. Spencer Dinwiddie, I think, is like the best card in C tier. Yeah, put him behind Derrick Rose. Boom. Stevie Franchise. Remember when everyone was so hard on to get this card, right? We were all tweaking so hard to get this card. We needed Steve Francis. And then like 3 weeks later, nobody used him anymore. That's just how 2K, like, free cards go. We all tweaked to get these free cards, and then like 3 weeks later, nobody uses them anymore. I still use Steve Francis occasionally, though. He's fun. I badge mine out, so I might as well use him occasionally. There's still people who use him, though. Trey Young. Glitch Trey is fire. I don't care what anyone says. I'm going to put him like right here. I love Glitch Trey. Like, I do. One of my favorite cards in the game all year. And I hate Trey Young in real life. Despise him. This Trey Young I would throw in C tier, though. The lack of defense really hurts that card. And finally, Tyrese Maxey. Low B tier. Like with Murray and Kyle Lowry and stuff. Still a good card, but I think people do overhype this card a little bit for sure. And this is coming from a person who uses them pretty frequently too. So I don't know. Let me know what you think of the list down below in the comments or in the live chat. Haven't decided if this is going to be premiere yet. And as always, I will be back with more content later. Expect the shooting guard tier list to be out at some point today. And have a good day, guys. Peace.